Kyle Williams, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I am so excited to have you.
Glad to be here.
Not only because of our shared history, shout out Corpus Christi, Texas.
One love.
But because I'm just such a fan of your team and your work and what you get to do every day. And our offices are sort of on either side of the same area.
Holding down the basement.
Holding it down. And I just have so much respect for your work and what great challenge it might be day to day. And something else I want to say about you is every time I see you, you've got a smile on your face. You seem from the outside looking in very grateful to be here. Sometimes I can be a grumpy cat. And the work that you do just has such a massive impact on what we're able to do. And I'm sure we'll highlight the biggest project that we have, the biggest project ever that's going on right now. But before we do any of that, introduce yourself, tell us who you are and what you get to do for work at Cumberland Heights.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me. Long time viewer, first time guest.
Caller. Yeah.
Doesn't work. Sorry.
Yeah.
My name's Kyle Williams. I'm the director of Philanthropy at the Cumberland Heights Foundation. Want to give a massive shout out to all my donors watching that make our mission possible. What I get to do is get to know the people that care deeply about this place and connect their passion with an opportunity to do something good in the world. And it's a great honor. As you know, a lot of people have come through this place over the years. And many of them are very generous people that turn around and want to help the next person in line get here that needs to be here, or stay here that needs to stay longer. And that's possible because of our donors. So I'm really grateful to be able to work with them.
So for somebody watching that doesn't know what Major Gifts means or Director of Philanthropy, just clue us in on a day in your life. What's it like when you walk in your office and you hit your space bar? What do you do every day?
I should have looked up what the Latin word for Latin definition of philanthropy is, but it's something to do with the love of man. And so, I'll meet with people and they'll say, "I'm not a philanthropist," and I say, "Well, you're sponsoring people, you're giving to scholarships, you're a philanthropist." And so, day in my life is, I'm always on the phone. My screen time is unreal because I just texting donors all the time. Nobody picks up their phone anymore, so text is a great way to get in touch with people. I'm going to coffees, going to lunches, doing tours of Cumberland Heights, learning about people's philanthropic philosophies. How do they give? What do they support? What's going on at Cumberland Heights, keeping people updated on what we have going on, what we're trying to do to help people, and what the needs are. So writing proposals and following up on meetings, participating in a lot of committees here. I don't know if anybody's ever been in a role where you have lots of contacts and lots of relationships. It's a lot of following up with people. People care about this place and they want to help, but they also have a full-time job and they have a family and they have other nonprofits they support. And so while they want to come out and see what we're doing and they want to help or they want to give, they have other priorities. So I feel like a big part of my job is just kind of being a squeaky wheel. People say, "Hey, Nick, it was great hanging out a couple weeks ago. You mentioned you want to come out. Let's get that scheduled. How can I help you?" And so a lot of following up with well-intentioned, busy people that want to help us.
One of the things that I feel like you and your boss and your team, shout out to Cindy Patterson.
Shout out to Cindy.
Have done a really good job of the past few years is just talking, at least internally, right? Because I'm an internal employee. Reminding our teams that, hey, we're part of a nonprofit organization and that we need to do as best we can to make sure that we buy into this idea of
culture of philanthropy.
That's what she says.
That's what she
culture
says.
Of philanthropy.
It's a big deal.
So talk about what you might be most proud of in terms of that change process since you've been here, because you've been here for 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years this weekend.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I say the thing I'm most proud of in that regard is, well, first, I have gratitude for the staff here who do such amazing work for our patients. It's incredible. Cumberland Heights our main campus is quite a beautiful, striking place. But it pales in comparison to the caliber of human beings that work here. That if Cumberland Heights was in the 16th basement floor of some building, it would be an amazing place. It had the same people. So when I bring donors here, or I bring people that are interested in our work here, and I'm getting to answer your question is, I try to get them to meet as many people as possible, because they will quickly see, oh, these people really care about their jobs, or like it's clear that so many of these people that work here are the product of this mission. This is very special. So I'm really proud that we are showcasing that. Whereas I think it was just kind of understood or by people who know Cumberland Heights, but for people who don't know it and they're interested in helping people find a new life in recovery, seeing that is pretty remarkable. Like Jay Crossan, who you've had out here. Like, there's just very few nonprofit CEOs that are, Jay Crossan's our CEO, for those who've not watched this in the past, that are the product of the mission. That is amazing. It speaks stories about who we are, what we do, and the efficacy of what we're doing. And so I try to showcase Jay as look, this guy who's leading our organization was a beneficiary of it. And every corner you turn in here, it's the case. And so I'm really proud that we're showcasing that to the people that care, our donors, and B, I'm really proud that the staff is on top of all the work that they do, helping people turn their lives around here. Their willingness to jump in on a tour, and I say, hey Nick, I've pulled you into. I was like, Nick, why do you love Cumberland Heights? Why is this a special place to you? And just try to get people 2 minutes, really quick. This is what I do, and this is why it's important to me. And it's very striking to the donors. They're really amazed, and so I'm really proud of that.
Explain your perspective, your process. How do people give? What's the process to matching maybe their heart's desire, their capacity to the actual event where they call you or they submit a form, or how does all that work?
Yeah, I mean, there's all different ways that people do it. I have alumni that just sign up on the website, go on the website and give monthly, and they send in $10 a month, and every dollar of that goes straight to scholarship. Doesn't pay me, doesn't pay any, it goes straight to a scholarship. People love that. I have people there's donors that have family foundations, that have been in their family for a while, and they get to earmark dollars for different places, and I go and tell them about what we're doing and what the needs are, and they have meetings quarterly and decide where to distribute those funds. There's all different ways to do it, and sometimes my donors will say, oh, well, I can only do this, and I said, you can't think of it like that. If everyone that ever came to Cumberland Heights was a donor, we would be, it would be free to come here. We'd have so many donors. So the people that do give are very special to us. They're very, not everyone can be generous or has the ability to be generous, and the ones that are, we're just so grateful for them because their actions provide a way for someone who wants to get sober, can't do it, needs help, is willing to do the work, but has a financial barrier. It allows them to come and find that. So there's all different ways to give. People give appreciated stock. People give land. People sign up to do all sorts of different things. And my job is to sort of get to know them and see, what do they care about? They'll say, Kyle, I came out to Stillwaters and, it saved my life or saved my son's life or saved my dad's life. And I just so thankful for it. I want to give. I say, cool. I want to tell you about this match that we do in May. Some people love our endowment. And they say, I like to give, but I love knowing that when I give, this gift is going to perpetually create scholarships forever. I love that. And we want to set up a fund in honor of our uncle or whoever that was connected to this place. Some people like to do that. So it's just a matter of figuring out what are people interested in, what is their passion relative to what we're doing. And a lot of times people have an idea of what they want to do and how they want to do it. And, I just kind of walk them through that.
One of the things I love about y'all's team today is, I'm a donor.
Thank you.
Well, that's not what I was searching for, but I appreciate that.
You're getting a thank you.
In my family, we are happy to support this place. Of course, I'm also a proud alumni of Cumberland Heights and Stillwaters, but really what I'm getting to is just a thank you to your team, because every time that we give, either someone pulls us aside, Good. I have multiple relationships, I guess is where I'm getting. As an employee, I had no expectation of
being
what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Not that we're even searching for that, but I always get a hand-signed letter in the mail.
Yeah.
With a special note, in spite of kind of, quote, my role in the relationship. Yeah. And to be frank with you, my level of giving. I'm not breaking the bank here.
Sure.
In terms of in comparison to some of the gifts that some wonderful families commit to in terms of Cumberland Heights. So I've always loved that with y'all. And you'll say something, or Cindy will say something to me, privately. It's not like an announcement's being made, and I'll always get a handwritten note.
I'm glad you said that. Let's talk about gratitude, Nick, because that is the name of the game, right?
Yeah.
Gratitude is a powerful thing. In 12-step recovery, we talk about that a lot, right? But as a nonprofit, if I was selling software or dump trucks or something else, I could take people to a Preds game or take them out to dinner and all this stuff. As a nonprofit, we can't do that we don't have the resources to do that kind of thing. So what I can do, all that I can do, is make sure the donors understand that we are grateful for them, and B, make sure that they understand that what they're doing is having a direct impact on someone else in need. And as a donor yourself, you could attest to that. That's all you really want from your donation, right? Am I having an impact, and are they grateful for this? Also, so we are working really hard to do that. We have some amazing volunteers, and make sure everyone that gives gets a call. Gets a call. A shout out to Frank Wade and Rob Crichton. Legendary phone calls, and and you hear it. You go, I'm out in the community, oh man, Frank called me. I gave a couple $100, and Frank called me. So nice, and they're constantly
not to mention,
so impressed by that.
But those guys, this isn't they won't listen to this, so I can say
I'm sending it to them.
But they've been doing this for a long time.
Right.
Years and years and years and years, and those two men in particular, just their posture of service and their willingness to sit down in this basement and call people and do whatever's necessary to help grow the endowment or to help people understand the impact that they're having is we couldn't do that without guys and gals like that.
Let me just give a point to our viewers. Whether it's Cumberland Heights or whatever it is that you're passionate about, a lot of us don't have a lot of time to go and volunteer and do things relative to the things that we care about. An amazing, amazing thing that you can do for a nonprofit that you care about is volunteer to call their donors and thank them. Say, hey, send me a list of 10 people that gave last month. I'll call them and tell them how much the organization means to me and that I'm grateful that they give. That's what we do with Frank and Rob. We say, hey, here's who gave to this. Here's who gave to this. here's their numbers, and they call, and they're efficient with it. But they're heartfelt, like you said, and it means so much to the donors to be like, hey, I gave, somebody saw it, somebody recognized it, they're grateful for it, and it's doing good work for people. You would think that's pretty low bar, but a lot of organizations can't do that, and we're lucky to have those guys that makes that possible. So you want to make an impact, connect with an organization you care about and volunteer to make some calls. People love it. They're so happy.
I've never thought of that.
Yeah, and any alumni watching this, please call me. I need more alumni to help us with these calls, because there's a lot of people that give, and they love hearing from alumni. Yeah. Say, hey, this place changed my life. I saw that you gave. Thank you.
Speaking of alumni, and talk about maybe, do we have policies about who we can contact and when we can contact people who have been touched by this place, and how do we kind of maneuver through that?
In terms of like reaching out to alumni to give?
Yeah.
Yeah. Historically here, we've not reached out to alumni until a year after they've come through, sort of.
Why do we do that?
It's my understanding that that's to allow the alumni to be focused on their early recovery, which I know is a hard-won foundation and so essential. But many people, come out and 2 months, 3 months in, they're saying, man, I just had a great experience out there. Came out to Sunday service or whatever, after care or whatever, and they're like, I just want to give back, I want to help people. And they start giving, and then we start the relationship from there. But I think a challenge that we face is that it's a blessing that Cumberland Heights has great relationships with all of these payers, right? And so that, people can come on their employer-sponsored benefits, and they don't really have to think about, is Cumberland Heights a nonprofit? Is that something I could give to? I think sometimes, right, because they're focused on, I got to get sober and get my life back. You're not thinking about that. They have a great experience, and they go back out into the world. And so I think it's a challenge to sort of how is that top of mind for the people that have the amazing turnarounds that happen here, to think, this is an easy way for me to help other people that are in my position. Sign up to be a monthly donor, or I can sponsor an event, or come do whatever to support our work. I think that's a challenge that we'll continue to navigate. But
one of the things, I don't know what my question is going to be here, but one of the things, maybe this was a couple weeks ago, and I was like shouted at you from across and I said, Kyle, come and look at this stuff. We were going through the archive.
That was great.
And Ryan was a part of that. And anyways, we're writing a new history book. We're going through the archive, the Cumberland Heights archive, and which was started way before I was an employee or a patient here. And one of the things that was striking to me, so I found like this cache of old development resources, whether it's like printed materials or events or newspaper clippings or whatever. And I showed all that to you. And your comment to me, I don't know if you remember this, was, this is amazing. Some of these names are people that are still giving today, 20, Definitely. 30, 40 years later.
Yes.
And their commitment to this organization is really strong. Can you talk about that just in your experience? Because I know you've worked in development at other organizations.
Yeah.
And, of course, have your pulse on what other people do. Is that something that's unique?
It's something that really, I don't say if it's unique, but it's very special. It's very special when people give for that long of a time. Often in my correspondence with them, I remind them, I say, you've been giving here for 30 years, or you've been giving 26 years. And half the time I say that, they're like, I owe Cumberland Heights my life. This is the least thing that I could do. Or I had a donor tell me one time, she's like, I'm on the way to see my grandchild. There was a time that I thought I would never have grandchildren because the way that life was going for our son. So a lot of those people that give for such a long time, they do it because their heart is just overflowing with gratitude for what has happened here. And I think it's just for those of us that work here, it's almost taken for granted that this place has helped so many people. I still, every day, I'll pick up the phone and call people and thank them, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, another person that came through. I was at a tour on this weekend. We're giving a tour. Donor brought some friends. I didn't know the guys, and one of the guys was like, yeah, I came through Cumberland Heights in 1980. He's like 1988 or 89 or something like that. And he was like, yeah, I knew Sidner Horn and all these people. Like, I got married in the chapel.
No kidding.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
It's hard to conceive of the amount of people that have helped here. And a lot of those people turn around and give and give and give. And that's just part of their life. That's part of who they are. And that's why I like to ask a lot of our donors, that choose to give. I say, one thing I ask people a lot is like, why do you give? And they'll say, well, help, give a reason. And then I'll also have who taught you to be generous? Like, where did you learn that? Because there's a lot of people that have come through here that, frankly, are not turning around and giving. And that's for lots of different reasons. No judgment. But it's a special quality when somebody chooses to give. And almost universally, those people will respond with, well, I saw my parents doing it, or I saw my granddad feeding people, or doing this or doing that. And when you ask someone that and they respond, they remember who they are. I said, I imagine myself to be a person that gives. And I could go down this whole philosophical trail of we as human beings are created to give. And that, as communal beings, we need to give. And it feels good to give. And I think in our rugged individualist society where we're picking ourselves up from our bootstraps and focusing on our own lives so much, it's often we forget and lose the idea that so much of our humanity is wrapped up in doing unto others. And so, anyways, I'm going off on a rabbit trail here now.
No,
Nick. I don't even know what
I-
I'm talking about.
One of the things that strikes me, and if you're listening, like maybe you don't know anything about Cumberland Heights, or maybe you're considering sending your loved one to treatment, that might be this place, that might be another place, wherever you live. And they probably have some similar program.
Yeah.
They're probably a nonprofit. They're probably, people are donating here and there. But as a donor myself, one of the things that's unique about working here that we talk about a lot, among my teams, and I talk about a lot with my friends and my family and in my recovery, just to be blunt, is I love being able to work for a place that I truly love and I'm truly passionate about. So if you and I were working at what you described earlier as the tractor dealership, or what was it, dump truck or tractor, whatever,
yeah.
software, I don't know if I would have that same passion
Yeah.
for what happens here and how lucky we are. So when I think of myself as a donor, which I don't really identify as,
Well, you are.
like one of the programs that I've given to is Stillwaters, and that gives me such an immense, internally,
Yes.
just to know, like you were talking about, that like, oh, somebody that is 20 years old, like I was, that
Yes, dude.
is confused, me, scared, not knowing what this is going to be about, showing up in Lobelville at this program called Stillwaters, greeted by this person called Heath, being like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Somebody has made a mistake. But how that fundamentally changed who I was. And, that $100 gives somebody an opportunity that might not have a means to experience something like that, to experience similarly meaningful days in their life that can help them be a dad, or help them be a partner, or help them be happy, help them just be free and not have to wake up and worry, how am I going to change the way that I feel today?
And your gift is doing that.
Yeah.
When you give to that match, you are directly providing that for somebody who is writing a letter saying, please help me.
And it's
I
so
need
cool
help.
to think about, okay, this place founded in 1966, just like many others, right? That there are so many people who have been doing this for a long time who are making an impact. Because sometimes dollars also go to the new HVAC. or the new van or the new roof that has to be purchased. So I just, you have such a unique job and a unique role at Cumberland, and you get to see, it's just a whole other perspective that we don't get to see.
And that's what we're trying to do with this culture of philanthropy we're continuing to build here. You know, we had the opportunity to present at the All Staff, and I did a segment called Meet the Donors. And just trying to let the staff know that there's so many people that believe in the work that they're doing every day. You know, working with people struggling with addiction, you know, it's tough work, but there's thousands of people out here that believe in what's happening, and the staff need to know that, right? They need to know that there's a cloud of people supporting them. I think it's important to the patients to know that, like, you know, I hope that our patients, when they're here, realize that they're on sacred ground almost, right? Thousands of people have come in here and, you know, had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps and turned their life around, and that it's possible. That impossible thing that they're coming up against, it's so possible. And it has happened so many times. And so... yeah, it's a blessing to be able to be in this position and get to know people. You mentioned Stillwater's. Shout out Stillwater's in May. We have a match. Every dollar will be matched for Stillwater's scholarships. So be on the look for that. We have a big goal again. And
what's the goal?
$220,000 in scholarships, which is huge. I think 4 years ago our goal was I think we had $45,000 match. So we've really grown that. Stillwater's alum and family are super passionate about that place, and we are continuing to grow that match. So
tell us, I'm going to shift gears on you a little bit. Talk about some outside of the match, Stillwater's match campaign.
Yeah.
What else are we raising money for these days?
So right now we're kind of big focus of ours is, you know, we haven't done a big announcement on the campaign just because we're still working on lead donors for a capital campaign that we're doing. And so been having a lot of strategic conversations with our donors that see the value in making sure this place has the facilities it needs to continue to doing the great work that it has done for 60 years. I tell them, you know, we're trying to set Cumberland Heights up to be around for another 60 years. And so we'll be working on a new men's building that's well on its way, and have about $2 million left to raise, and we'll have that whipped, and then we'll...
Wait, hold on. Let me pause. Talk about, Cindy might get mad at me.
Cindy, don't get mad at us.
Sorry, because I know that we're still in a silent phase, and I totally...
It's okay. We can talk about it.
We'll cut it out if we need to cut it out.
Yeah.
Hopefully not, but...
No, it's fine.
When you say we're $2 million away, $2 million of a little goal, or $2 million in terms of having some of the project completely paid for through donations?
So it's kind of broken it up into two phases, and each phase is an $18 million phase to build a new therapeutic and residential facility for our men's program. It's going to be amazing. And then which by the way, and then the second phase is doing the same thing for our women's program. And so we've raised $16 million for the men's building. And like I said, this is all coming from foundations, support recovery. This is coming from family members that support recovery, Cumberland Heights friends, family members, alumni.
That's what I wanted to highlight.
Yeah, it's all. I mean, this is all coming from people who are like, what Cumberland Heights is doing has helped me, helped my family member, helped people I care about, and I want to make sure that it has what it needs to continue to do that forever.
And it's going to be an amazing process of change for our River Road campus. You know, I know it's approximately 40,000 square feet. You know, we're not going to. I don't have any things to hold up or anything like that, but what a beautiful opportunity to kind of reinvest in some of the healing spaces. One of the things I hear you and Jay and Cindy talking about a lot just by way of this project is that the patients that choose us deserve to stay in physical spaces that match the quality of care that we provide.
Right.
Not to say that the quality of the building and grounds we have today are anything but stellar and super nice, but
Well, yeah, but it's also changed since this was a farm in the 60s, and we had just a handful of guys out here, and they were just treating, alcoholics. Now we have people that are struggling with all manner of things, and we have developed these amazing programs. And so what would it look like instead of having to figure out how the programs can match these facilities is like, let's build a facility that actually matches what we're doing with these people.
Yeah.
So,
and we've been working on this for a long time. I mean, several years in terms of first identifying what do we need, what do we want to prioritize on, and everybody's been involved. That's something I'm proud of too.
I'm proud of that too. That it
the
wasn't
therapists,
like,
the
hey,
program directors, all the way up to sort of the C-suite and the general contractor,
and the board members. And,
yeah.
So
how does it want to look like that? That's unique. That collaboration of sitting in a room with board members, architects, contractors, development staff, and then frontline staff, and saying, okay, does the rooms need to be this way, or should they be that way? Should it be a hallway here? Whatever that might be. And I am so proud of you guys, Kyle. Like, I could not do your job. Not even close. And I'm not saying that this is probably not the way the philanthropist would talk, but the fact that y'all have done what you have done so far in support of this while maintaining everything else is just a shout out to y'all's hard work and for the willingness of our community.
Absolutely. It's a huge thank you for that. And it's possible, like I just keep going back to that, the opportunity here to do this is so great because so many people have come through here. So many people have come through here, and it has helped them, and it has changed their family's life. And so it's an easy conversation to have with somebody to say, tell me about your impressions of Cumberland Heights. They say, well, I came out here. It helped me. I got my family back, I got my job back. I have kids now. I said, well, can I tell you about what we're doing to help people that were in your position? Yeah, and tell them about what we're doing. Is this something that you could see yourself? Would you want to come out and see what we're doing? And it's just such a fun conversation to have with people because I try to think of what I'm doing as a service provider to my donors. Is like these are good people that want to help, and they have things that they care deeply about. And I'm trying to help them say, look, you want to help, and this is something you care about. This is giving to this is paving the way for thousands of people to come to save their lives, frankly. So it's just a very, Frank Wade, I heard him say one time, he said, I have, the amount of good this place has done, and the amount of people's lives it has saved, I have zero hesitancy going and talking to someone about giving to make this mission possible. And I thank you for saying that. And it's I feel like we've got so much more work to do. There's so many more people I haven't talked to.
Can you tell me a little bit about the rest of your team too? Because
we have a great team. We have a team. Diane Myers. We should have Diane on here. Diane is the brains of our operations. She manages our database. Helps us with our mailing. She knows all the donors and knows, it's amazing. I'm so thankful for Diane. And she's been here a while. And we got Amy. Amy writes our grants, and she partners with me, thank God, with all the proposals that we have and the impact letters that we write to our donors. Hey, you're reminding them, hey, you are saving people's lives here when you give. You need to remind them of that. And Amy helps us with all that and helps us stay on top of all the deadlines to get in front of all the foundations that care about us. And then we have, of course, Leanne. And Leanne is amazing. We have 3 signature events here at Cumberland Heights: a men's breakfast for our men's program, a women's luncheon coming up in April, and we have the concert for Cumberland Heights at the Ryman. And she's amazing. She executes those flawlessly, and we collaborate to make sure our donors are at those things, and it's great. And of course, we're all led by Cindy Patterson, who I've had the pleasure of working with for a long time, and she among many great qualities, assembles a good team. And I feel like that's one of Cumberland Heights' great strengths is getting good people to come work here and work collaboratively.
It's been really cool to see y'all gel over the last few years. You've been here for 5. Cindy's been here, I think, for 5. Leanne's been here for a few. Diane and Amy have been here for a while longer. And to see how, celebrating the past relationships that other development staff, because that's the other cool thing about Cumberland Heights is usually you're not the first person in your position.
Right.
And there are those that have done so much work at getting us to where we are today. And so seeing how you guys celebrate those folks, you mentioned the concert for Cumberland Heights at the Ryman, John Hyatt and Walt Quinn and many, many others, Martha Farabee, board members that have made that a success for how many years?
Coming up on 30 of the concert.
Is pretty wild.
It's awesome.
And just to see how you guys are meeting the demand of today is humbling, honestly, Kyle.
And I'll tell you, you listed a bunch of names there, but I know we've mentioned Frank and Rob, 2 of our board members, but we have an awesome board. Very few of any of my success here at Cumberland Heights has been without the help of our board.
Yeah.
People who are very passionate about this place that are willing to open the doors to me, connect me with people that care about what we're doing here, lend their influence. It's just a remarkable board. Boards are tough it's tough to cultivate a board of this caliber, and people that are that passionate and that willing to do whatever it takes for an organization. So, that's, I think we take that for granted here is that, it's tough to have a board like that, and we've had one for a long time, and they're very, very, very helpful to me. Shout out to our board members. You know who you are. I hope they're watching this, because I do mean that.
Well, it's a pleasure, man. I'm so glad that you came on. It was important. So this is our 3rd season. I'm not sure if I mentioned that at the beginning, but we've been doing these shows like this for a while, and ultimately to try to get in front of, just tell it's that there is a development team.
Yeah.
This is what these people do. This is kind of what that means. I think it's important, first and foremost, for those that are seeking treatment, trying to understand, who are these people? Who are these people that are running this organization? Is my loved one going to be safe there? Are they going to get quality care there? So instead of, maybe worrying so much about the next brochure, it's let's actually talk to that person. Let's talk to Kyle. Let's talk to Cindy. Let's talk to Frank. Let's talk to the nurse. Let's talk to the therapist directly and have them talk about what it's like, and help people understand what the process of change might be for their family. So development was one of those unique areas of the organization that I really wanted to highlight.
Thank you.
I'm just grateful that I know you're busy, but I knew that I wanted to pull you
Thanks
in
for
early
the opportunity, Nick.
for this year.
To your viewers, my email is kyle_williams@cumberlandheights.org, and I would love to meet with you, talk to you about how you could help other people find a new life, restore their lives here at Cumberland Heights. And it doesn't matter if you have $1 or $1 million to give, you can have an impact on somebody's life, and I'd love to talk to you about that.
Thank you, Kyle. If you're interested in hearing from Kyle or talking with Kyle, we're going to put his contact in the episode description. And be sure to reach out to him anytime. Of course, we'll have his email there. Be sure to comment, follow, subscribe, whatever you can do to support this. We're so grateful that you watch or you listen wherever you are. Thanks again.
Thank you.